And welcome to another edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is Thursday, the 23rd day of August, 2018. I am Dan Kuntz. He is Steve Hare. Kat is in control. Shop talk right out of the box. My IFP just went dead. The thing that I wear in my ear, so Kat can yell at me, is just went. It's been that kind of morning this morning.
I think we have a new name for the show.
What's that?
50 Shades of Gray.
50 Shades of Gray. Only it won't be as randy, I guess is the right word. 50 Shades of Gray. You obviously haven't read the book.
No, well.
We'll leave it at that. Busy show for today. Lots going on. And
Title only.
Yeah, title only. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, folks, but there's a couple of things we need to get to right out of the top. The air quality alert, which was supposed to have run its course by noon today, as issued by the Washington State Department of Ecology. It's been extended until 12 o'clock on Monday. The long-term forecast through Wednesday of next week, the next 6 days, calls for smoky and hazy conditions, and the air quality has not gotten better. It has gotten worse, and it's going to get worse. We have the graphs to show it. We also have a red flag warning. Yesterday at this time, they had a fire weather watch. They've taken that off the board. They've issued a red flag warning for strong winds and low relative humidity. It's for our area. It goes from 2 o'clock this afternoon until 8 o'clock this afternoon. And the National Weather Service is predicting that the smoke and the haze will worsen, not get better, over the next 3 or 4 days.
We get a little reprieve tonight, though.
These things happen, maybe. They're not. Yeah, they're hedging their bets a little bit on this. The proximity of the Cougar Creek fire and the other fires, it's just other places are going to get some relief, specifically out in the Columbia Basin and out towards the Spokane area and again in the Puget Sound area. But the fire is just too close, and there won't. Even though we're going to have some stronger winds, the National Weather Service says, the Department of Ecology says it's going to get worse. And we got some graphs that you're not going to like to see. That's just what it is. So there you go. Steve will have the news. We'll tackle everything else that we normally tackle on a Thursday. It is Thursday. That means Kennel Cameos will be coming your way at the bottom of the hour. And Lynn Kelly is patiently standing by. Big event this weekend. The 8th annual Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival takes place Saturday night at the Town Toyota Center. That'll be the topic of conversation when we get to the back half of the show.
Can't think of a better way to cope with the bad weather than a nice glass of vintage wine.
Yeah. You got some?
Well, you're going to have it, obviously, with your guests.
Let's throw on a rerun.
Yeah.
Go have some wine. 3 minutes after the hour, let's take you around north central Washington with our Valley View cameras. And there you go. It's a little worse right now than it was yesterday. Right now in the Wenatchee Valley, we're at 211, very unhealthy. We were at 168 yesterday at this time. Chelan, you're going to find out that you're in the hazardous range again, just when it looked like things were going to clear out. That's our cross camera, of course, overlooking what we can see of the Wenatchee Valley. So there you go. I don't know what we're going to find for the next 3 cameras, I suppose. Oh, well, there's Steve's summer home.
Oh,
that's
yes.
Monument Hill. Somewhere out there is Quincy, where opportunities are unlimited. And of course, that building that you see there is where Steve likes to spend his summer weekends.
Yeah, we added a new wall.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Kind of protects us from that westerly breeze here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steve and Lynette like to get away from it all, and get away from the busy city life and all the traffic and all that stuff to get out to Monument Hill and just relax with Mother Nature. Camera number.
By the way, you're invited to come up.
Oh, good. Count me in. I'll be there. Camera 3, that is, I'm pretty sure, either Upper Butte or Bear Mountain, looking down towards Chelan.
The Lower Butte?
That's the Lower Butte. We were in Chelan most of the day yesterday. One of my top content producers, 3M and I, went up to Chelan to see how the folks whose business depends on tourism dollars are handling the last couple of weeks with the heavy, thick smoke. We'll have some of that on the evening news tonight. They seem to be hanging in there pretty good. Of course, we were there on a Wednesday, and there's really not a lot of activity.
Is that the sun I'm seeing
That's
there?
the sun, the
right?
upper right-hand corner. Yep. And finally, camera number 4, we take a look-see to Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock is kind of haze there. You can kind of stick it out there right in the middle of your screen as we're looking down towards the Wenatchee Valley. All of these cameras, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet, which means you can live out in the middle of nowhere, and as long as you can see ridge tops and mountain tops, and we have a Sky-Fi dish up there, you can get screaming fast internet without any fiber technology. It's a wonderful thing. Write that down. 5 minutes after the hour. Before we do the forecast, like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, let's take a look at your air quality for the Wenatchee Valley. That's your state map. As you can see, yesterday at this time we were in red. Now we're back to purple. We're heading in the wrong direction. Puget Sound area is dealing with some pretty bad air as well. That's the problem with
And
this,
it's headed
Steve.
this way.
Yeah, the problem with this is that there's no relief.
Yeah.
You know,
The west wind's going to clear out the Puget Sound but blow it our way.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to blow it our way. It's
A taste of Seattle.
yeah, no thank you. I love Seattle. It's one of my favorite big cities, but they're dealing with it pretty bad too. It has not been pretty. What's Wenatchee looking like right now on the graph? There you go, 211, very unhealthy. It's worse than it was yesterday at this time. And as we mentioned before, smoke and haze expected to worsen, not get better. That was not the case 24 hours ago. These things happen. That's what's
24
going on
hours
in
from
Wen-
now, who knows?
Who
Might
knows?
change.
Chelan, you're at hazardous. Sorry, Chelan just got to that 300 level not long ago, and it's going to climb that ladder, I'm afraid. And as I mentioned, the air quality alert has been extended until 12 noon Monday, and when we show you the forecast all the way through Wednesday of next week as we close in on Labor Day weekend, haze and smoke, and haze and smoke, and a couple of clouds. We're hoping for a little bit of rain this weekend. It is not in the forecast from the National Weather Service. This is what it looks like. Again, red flag warning for today, 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Why? It's going to get windy. Northwest wind today, 8 to 17 miles an hour. As we get deeper and deeper into this Thursday, the winds will be picking up. Breezy tonight, northwest wind, 14 to 20 miles an hour, gusts near 30, thus the red flag warning, 61 for the overnight low. Then we cool down. This is a pretty active, pretty powerful cold front. It's just bringing cold, unsettled air. It's not bringing any rain, so tomorrow, look at that high, only 76. That's 10 degrees below normal, and wind all day Friday, 14 to 18 miles an hour, very consistent. Wind dies down a little bit Friday night, still hazy, still smoky, 55 for the overnight low. Brrr. Saturday, we were hoping for clean air and sunshine, hazy, smoky, 78. Sunday, hazy, smoky, and 78 again. No rain in the forecast. That's really what we need. You know, wind would be nice to clear out the skies, but now they're saying the wind is gonna make things bad.
They might get a few raindrops on the Crescent Fire to the north of us.
Perhaps.
That's
the
a
forecast, of course, that
possibility.
we give you is always for the Wenatchee Valley, and air quality extended, red flag warning. I'm tired of this. I don't want to. You know, they say don't ever editorialize on the
It's
weather. but
our new normal.
yeah, it is the new normal. We had it last year, and we had it really bad in 2012.
Yep.
It is what it is. 8 minutes after the hour, got a lot of news. You were busy yesterday, Steve. You had a lot on your plate, buddy. Steve's got the news. Comes your way in 1 minute, so grab your cup of coffee and come back and join us. We'll fill your head full of the information you need to start your day. And the news is brought to you by our friends at Cascade Medical. Train with a physical therapist who loves the outdoors as much as you do. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
The physical therapists at Cascade Medical love the outdoors as much as you do. But sometimes where there's love, there's also pain. Let us help you get back to the activities that you love. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
Find it all at Wenatchee Valley Mall. Get your back-to-school favorites from Macy's, Marshall's, Ross, Hot Topic, Zoomies, and the Children's Place. No matter the age, Wenatchee Valley Mall is ready to fulfill all your back-to-school needs. Check out their website for current hot deals. From head to toe for the very latest in trends, start your school shopping tradition at Wenatchee Valley Mall.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Welcome back to the program, and here are some of the stories we're following in North Central Washington on this 23rd day of August. First of all, the weather really tops our news today and its impacts on local area fires. Cougar Creek fire crews are hoping to hold the line against a looming windstorm over the next 24 hours. It's expected to be a critical period of low relative humidity, an unstable air mass, and increasing winds as this cold front approaches the fire area and moves through overnight. A red flag warning will be in effect starting at 2 o'clock this afternoon, as mentioned by Dan in our earlier weather forecast. Hand crews have been working over the course of the week, conducting backburn operations along the west flank of the fire. There are currently 868 firefighters assigned to the Cougar Creek and the neighboring Lost Lake and Bannock Bannock Lake fires. Improved visibility has also allowed aerial resources to be utilized in support of burnout operations to reinforce containment lines on the western edge of that fire. Aerial ignition, by the way, is also being used in conjunction with hand crews firing on the ground, continue burning out that vegetation between the containment lines and the fire. There's been no change in the evacuation levels. Here's an interactive map provided to us by InsaWeb. The fire remains at 40% containment. It's burned about 39,000 acres of forest land between the Entiat and Chumstick valleys. Fire managers are going to be holding a public information meeting tonight in Entiat at the fire hall. That starts at 6 p.m. A one-vehicle rollover accident caused traffic delays yesterday on Squilchuck Road in Wenatchee area. The accident happened around 4:30 in the 2200 block of Squilchuck Road. The road was reopened about 45 minutes later. Here's a shot taken by one of our Valley View Sky-Fi cams of that accident scene. No information immediately available, however, regarding possible injuries there. Also, 4 people were rescued Tuesday afternoon when the raft they were riding in capsized below Tumwater Dam north of Leavenworth. Chelan County Fire District 3, along with Chelan County Sheriff's deputies, also the Swift Water Rescue Team, all assisted in that rescue. The raft was then removed from the rapids below the dam, and luckily there were no injuries. Well, teachers in the Wenatchee School District have agreed to a new labor contract. Rank and file members of the Wenatchee Education Association ratified the new contract at a meeting Tuesday night. Now it's up to the school board to follow suit later this month. Chris Cameron with the Wenatchee Education Association tells NCW Live News this new contract is a win-win for everyone.
You know, nationwide and especially in Washington State, we've got a pretty severe teacher shortage right now. And so the stress of the job and a lot of the negative comments that educators hear in the media, plus low pay, has really contributed to that situation. So we're really excited that the state legislature finally complied with the McCleary decision and are not in contempt of court any longer, and that our local school district and our association were able to reach a good agreement.
Now, the WEA represents over 500 non-administrative certified teachers in the Wenatchee School District. The district reports in a prepared news release that the new 2-year contract provides for a salary increase for the upcoming school year and a cost of living adjustment for next year as well. The new agreement also provides for some reductions in caseloads for non-teaching staff, such as therapists and psychologists. It also adds new limits to daily class load for teachers. And finally, in a story we teased yesterday morning for you, the third time was the charm this week when a piece of aviation history took flight from the waters of Moses Lake. NCW Life's cameras were there to capture that event. Fully restored 1914 Curtiss flying boat was cleared by the FAA for test flights after it was rebuilt by Pangbourne Airport-based Century Aviation. A small group of invited guests watched on as the vintage biplane was eased into the water and taxied out onto the lake. Company owners Mark Smith and Karen Barrow were commissioned to do the restoration by Bill Nutt. He's a Florida businessman for the nonprofit Collings Foundation.
Really excited and just a little terrified.
Yeah, a bit nervous.
Yeah.
But
we've had a good talks with our pilot. He's got a lot of experience with it. He's comfortable. Our engine mechanics, things like that, they're comfortable. The guys have gone over and over it. I think we're good.
we're ready to go.
You've built a lot of aircraft up there.
Yes, we have.
How does this project rate?
This is probably our favorite. It's been, I don't like the term bucket list, but this has been on our bucket list, this particular aircraft, for 25 years or more. We've known about the project for 30.
Yeah.
And finally, through Bill Nutt, who's basically paying for the project, we were able to make it possible.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Smith and Barrow started work on that project in 2016. Nutt discussed the story behind the project with NCW Life News.
Well, I had actually done a previous project with Century Aviation. I did a 1909 Curtiss Pusher, which is not a float plane, wheeled plane, tricycle gear, same OX5 engine, and I did that 4 years previously. And when it was completed, donated it to the Collings Foundation in Stowe, Massachusetts. The Collings Foundation has a great collection of not only aircraft, but automobiles and tanks. And in their aircraft museum, they have specialty is naval aircraft. And so the first Navy airplane was a 1909 Curtiss Pusher. The second was a Model F flying boat.
Interesting.
And so I was interested in what the second aircraft was, and happily Mark Smith knew where we could find some parts for a Model F. And so I brought Mark and Rob Collings from the Collings Foundation, and I went and looked in a barn in East Haven, Connecticut, where this plane had crashed in 1915, had been dragged out shortly thereafter, parts put in a barn, and a gentleman whose last name is Vernon had bought the farm and went into the old barn and thought he had found a windmill. But in the center of the parts was the control structure, and on it was the original registration plate. And it said Curtiss Aeroplane Company, Model F, number 112. So he really knew what he had. And he put that on the internet, and Mark saw it, and that's how we found out where this was. And so Mark said he had wanted for 30 years to build a Model F, and I said, well, I'd like to build a Model F, so we got together. So that's how it started, 4 years ago.
And your impression of the final product?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely remarkable. And the product that you see behind you is only part of it. There were no existing complete plans for a Model F. Some of them were in the Curtiss Wright Museum in Columbus. Some of them were in the Smithsonian. Some of them were at the Curtiss Museum in Hammondsport, New York, but nobody had a complete set of plans. Well, one of the things that comes out of all of this is that we now have one complete set of plans, as well as a flying, existing resurrection of a flying boat.
Now, the aircraft reportedly maneuvered well in the water, but the first two attempts to lift off were scuttled due to some mechanical issues. But the third time was the charm, thanks to Century Aviation's team of highly skilled engineers who made the necessary repairs. The plane took off and then flew about 50 feet over the water at a distance of about a quarter mile. It landed, then took off 2 more times before it was removed from the water. Bill Nutt said the plane will now be transported to New York, where it'll be reassembled for a second test flight.
And that is the big Curtiss Museum flight the second Saturday of September every year. They have a fly-in for all of the existing Curtiss aircraft. And Curtiss built airplanes through the Second World War. He built some very big transport airplanes. He was a genius at aeronautics. And so all of those airplanes come back in September, and this will be the sort of the highlight of that show.
For Century Aviation, it's on to the next project, a Curtiss Jenny biplane, similar to the aircraft they built for the Evergreen Aviation Museum in McMinnville, Oregon. Steve Hare, NCW Life News. So there you have it, Dan. It was really a historic day out at Moses Lake, and not a lot of people saw it, but I'll tell you what, it's quite an accomplishment for Century Aviation, Mark and Karen, and for Bill Nutt there. It's another to add to his collection now at the Collings Foundation.
It's curious because these have to be approved by the FAA. You just can't go build a airplane in your garage and go out and fly it. The FAA has to sign off on it. It has to be licensed and everything. That must have been
there was an FAA representative right there.
Oh yeah,
you
can see him on the video.
Yeah.
But it must be a fascinating thing to go through that process before the FAA says, go ahead and take flight.
He was one of the more excited onlookers, I think. There.
Yeah, well, FAA folks who do this, they're flying nuts. They're into this stuff.
Oh, sure they are.
You know, absolutely. 2 quick things before we go to our first commercial break. From the Department of Ecology, I wanted to get this out there. The question is, will the air quality improve through the weekend? And they say, because the proximity of the wildfires to the Wenatchee Valley, confidence on improved air, low. I just wanted to say that, low. That's from the Department of Ecology. And one more little thing, we didn't mention this yesterday. Yesterday's sunset was at 8 o'clock. Today's sunset, 7:58. The sun goes down before 8 o'clock now, as summer slowly begins to slip
Sun?
away.
What's that?
Yeah, it's up there somewhere. Trust me, it's still there.
Orange orb.
The news with Grant Olson comes your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Grant handles the news, also does a pretty good job of forecasting the weather, and our friend Eric Granstrom handles sports. So the news with Grant and Eric at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock on television, available on demand on our website and also available on demand on our Facebook page, just about 5 o'clock as well. And you want to be a part of the news team, you can. We get tips from you folks all the time, and most of them pan out pretty good, Steve.
That's right. You can contact us at our email address. That's news@ncwlife.com. Talk to us on our website. Just click the little tab at the top of the page. It says contact us at ncwlife.com. Facebook, Twitter, always good sources of conversation and news tips, so use that as well. And if you see news happening, call us on the hotline, 888-6295, or just wake up Dan, give him a call, and
Sure.
he'll pass the word along to me.
And you can always just drop us a line, too. Our address is at 201 South Chelan. Don't forget, though, if you want to comment on the content of this show, it must be unqualified praise. 21 minutes after the hour. Sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike Mignotti's opinion. Kennel cameos, because it's Thursday, and Lynn Kelly is in-house to talk about the Wenatchee did I have wine?
Wine.
The Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival.
Dan's been sampling some of the props.
Can I go home? You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Granstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
We're back 23 minutes after the hour, a mild 70 degrees. Air quality is going to deteriorate. A red flag warning is in effect from 2 o'clock until 10 o'clock tonight because of increasing winds, and we have an air quality alert that's been extended through Monday. Let's do sports. Wenatchee Valley Rams have qualified for the national semifinals in their semi-pro league. They're scheduled to play in Salt Lake City, Utah. Coming up on the 14th of September, they're supposed to take on the Wastash Revolution, but they got to get there first. So let's get them there, shall we? Mickey White and his team are seeking the community's help to go represent all of Washington State at this event. White says he hopes that the Wenatchee Valley will repeat its generosity of 2015. That's when the Valley chipped in and sent the Rams to Denver to win their first ever national championship. We'll have more during tonight's NCW Life Evening News at 5, 6, and 10. Eric is going to meet with Mickey today, going to get some details on last week's championship, the plan for Utah, and some other exciting news, including White's involvement with the NCW Life channel. You don't want to miss that. Smoke and the North Central Washington prep schedule and prep football. Yeah, it's got some problems. It's going to affect some openers. It's quite possible. We heard from Wenatchee High School head football coach Scott Devereaux and says if things don't improve air-wise, and right now it doesn't look like it is, their scheduled Saturday night jamboree at the Apple Bowl may be canceled. Eastmont was supposed to show up. They've already said we're not going to make it. It'll just be the Panthers and Ellensburg in the jamboree if it's held. Cashmere is slated to go to Ephrata for a jamboree on Friday. We're checking on that. Chelan is scheduled to host a jamboree Saturday afternoon. May not happen. We're just 8 days away from the opening of the high school football season. It's a week from tomorrow, and smoke may cause havoc with those schedules. We'll keep you in the loop on that. Marco Gonzalez had a rough outing. Oh, it was like he was throwing batting practice yesterday. Seattle got down early. Houston went on to win 10-7. It was a day game at Safeco Field yesterday. Gonzalez lasted only 3 innings. He allowed 8 runs, 11 hits. The Astros saw and hit everything he threw. At least it seemed that way. Trailing 8-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning, Seattle tried to come back with a run of the 4th, a run of the 5th, a 5-run 6th, including a 2-run home run by Mitch Haniger, but it wasn't enough. Houston takes 2 of 3 from Seattle in the series. Manager Scott Servais says he just can't afford to get down so far that early and have a real shot of winning.
You know, today's game, obviously, we got behind the 8 ball early, you know, down in the game. I thought our guys they didn't quit, and they kept battling. We put some pressure on them, got ourselves back into the game. Certainly, Healy swung the bat well, as did Haniger. But, you know, I don't think Marco threw the ball that badly. Obviously, it had been, I think, 8 days since he'd been out there. But, you know, they put some balls in play. They got some hits. They hit a few balls hard. You know, just you know, wasn't a clean outing for him, and unfortunate. It seems like we haven't put it together. Last night we pitched okay, didn't swing it. Today we swung the bats better, but the pitching struggled out of the gate.
Marco, when they get so aggressive in that inning, is there anything you can do to slow things down?
No, I mean, you know, the changeup for Marco. You know, we talk about his cutter, curveball. The changeup's kind of his bread and butter pitch. You know, he left a couple of those up. You know, when you do that, you know, they're reaching out to hit him off the end of the bat or whatnot, and then some balls fell in. So they were very aggressive against him today. You know, Marco is around the strike zone, and, you know, they were on a lot of what he offered today.
Mariners need a day off, and they're getting one. They don't play today. They're going to head on down to Phoenix, take on the Arizona Diamondbacks come Friday. American League West for the Les Schwab scoreboard we go. And there you see it. Mike Minor faced the minimum over 6 innings. Shin-Soo Choo ended Texas's 19-inning scoreless streak. He homered on the very first pitch of the game. That set the tone. The Rangers beat Oakland 4-2. So the A's drop out of a tie for first with Houston with the loss. They are a game back. Seattle trails Oakland by 4.5 games for that final wild card spot. Clay Buchholz tossed another gem as the Diamondbacks won for the 6th time in 7 games. They completed the 2-game sweep of the Angels. 5-1 win last night at Chase Field. In the meantime, let's talk Seahawks. They have their 3rd preseason game is tomorrow night. It's in Minneapolis to take on Minnesota. The defense still trying to find its identity. The departure of names like Michael Bennett, who's now no longer with the team, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, and Earl Thomas, who's just plain holding out. Bobby Wagner and other veterans, they're left with the task of trying to create that chemistry that's so important to a good defensive unit. Wagner says he hopes they take another step in that direction tomorrow night.
You know, I felt like I seen, you know, a lot of guys kind of take the coaching to the field. You know, I see guys flying around. I think we got to find a way to get the ball. We got to create more turnovers. You know, we got to do a better job, you know, getting off to a better start, not letting them run the ball. But I think, you know, a lot of that comes with time, getting to understand, you know, there's a lot of new faces, so we're still getting to, you know, trying to learn everybody. But I like where we're at, and I think this will be a game to kind of show the progression.
Now in his 7th season, Wagner says the biggest challenge is learning how to communicate with all the new players on the team.
I would say just the communication part. You know, I think that was the big thing with us, you know, being able to play with each other for so long. There was a lot of nonverbal communication that we had. There was a lot of, you know, certain ways that you played, you know, with a person just because you played with them for so long. So, you know, for me, you know, certain players kind of get, you know, hit a reset and have to relearn, you know, certain players and relearn, you know, certain styles and things of that nature. So even how guys play up front, you got to learn, you know, how they hit certain plays. And, you know, I think, you know, we're doing a good job, and it's always great to have a guy like KJ with you still. So, you know, we're right now 7 years strong. So.
Of course, Earl Thomas has been a no-show at camp. He's holding out. He wants a contract extension or a trade to another team that'll pay him more. Wagner says he wishes Earl was on the team, but he understands his decision.
It's an interesting thing, man. You know, you want him to be here. I want him to be here. But at the same time, too, there's a business side of this thing. And, you know, sometimes that takes over, you know, what you should be doing. And, you know, I think you see it a lot right now. From the defensive side, you know, you have amazing players that are not getting paid or not getting, you know, their money. And I think at some point you have to, you know, make a stand. You know, every year they're making the game harder and harder for a defensive player to play. You know, they got this new helmet rule that they don't even know how to officiate right now. And, you know, we're doing our best to adjust. And, you know, I just think that, you know, I think defensive players are just as important as offensive players. You know, if you don't have a defense, you don't have, you know, this league doesn't exist.
Preseason game number 3 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff in Minnesota. And that is sports. right at the bottom of the hour, 30 after. Let's go ahead and do your obscure holiday of the day today. And today is Ride the Wind Day, which is pretty good because we're going to get a little bit of wind today. In fact, northwest wind about 9 to 17 miles an hour. I learned something about flying a kite when I had our good friends from the Antioch Kite Festival come in. They said the perfect kite flying wind is about 7 to 10 miles an hour consistent. You don't want it any stronger than that. It can be hard to get a hold of your kite. So let the wind carry you in whichever direction it is blowing, as long as it's not smoky. You can fly an airplane, you can fly a kite, you can parachute, you can hang glide, you can get in a big old balloon and ride the wind. Ride with the Wind Day today. And you can always make your own wind by simply hopping on a motorcycle. It's always windy when you ride a motorcycle. Ride the Wind Day, always August 23rd, because we don't know. It just is. It is August 23rd. Let's do Today in History. Happy anniversary to the great state of Franklin. There it is. There's Franklin, tucked between Tennessee and North Carolina, the 14th state of the Union. I'm sorry, Franklin was not a state. That's my bad. August 23rd, 1784, 234 years ago. Here's the deal. North Carolina, everybody was in. We won the Revolutionary War. Woohoo! We got ourselves a country. All the states are supposed to, pay up, give us your dough. North Carolina said, we don't have any money. But I'll tell you what, we'll just carve off this far, far section of western North Carolina, and we'll give it to the federal government, and they can start a new state, and we'll call it Franklin. It was a way of paying off the debt that North Carolina incurred during the Civil War. Franklin never really happened. It was an experiment for about 4 years, never really took off. Not a bad idea, though. The great state of Franklin, founded on this date, and lasted about 4 years without really doing much of anything. Today was the beginning of one of the biggest battles in the history of World War II, a war that had a lot of historic battles. August 23rd, 1942, 76 years ago today, the beginning of the Battle of Stalingrad. It lasted 5 months, 1 week, and 1 day. When it was all over, 400,000 Germans were either killed, wounded, or captured. The Soviets suffered 1,129,000 total casualties, but they held on to Stalingrad. The battle began on this date 76 years ago today. August 23rd, 1972, at the Republican National Convention in Miami Beach, Florida, my favorite vice president of all time, Spiro T. Agnew, renominated as the vice president alongside his good friend Richard Nixon. 1,345 delegates voted for Spiro T. Agnew. 1 delegate voted for David Brinkley, the journalist, who declined the opportunity. I miss Spiro T. Agnew. And happy birthday to the web. The World Wide Web is 27 years old today. It existed before August 23rd, 1991, but the World Wide Web is open to the general public on this date 27 years ago, and of course it's been a complete fiasco. And at 33 minutes after the hour, 1, 2, 3, 4 birthdays. The last king of France, Louis XVI of France, born on this date in 1754. Yeah. What do you say about this guy? He died in 1793. It wasn't his idea, but France was corrupt and France was going downhill. And finally, the people said, "Enough of this nonsense, Louis. We'll take Versailles, thank you. Just get out of here." He said no, so they just got rid of him. The last king of France, Louis XVI, born on this date in 1754. The one actor you'll never see him play a bad guy, Gene Kelly. He looked good. All his characters were likable. The guy could dance and sing and star of television and film, of course. He's a director, producer, choreographer. The great Gene Kelly, born on this date in 1912, passed away at the age of 83 back in 1996. Greatest drummer in the history of rock and roll, Keith Moon. There he is, Moon the Loon, my fave. Born in this state in 1946, died at the age of 32 in 1978. Live fast, play hard, die young. Keith Moon, the greatest drummer of all time, from The Who, born in the state of 1946. And Kobe Bryant is 40. Happy birthday, Kobe. Man, his life's good. Yeah, he holds the NBA record for most seasons playing with one franchise for his entire career. Remember, he signed right out of high school with the LA Lakers. He spent his entire career with the LA Lakers. Kobe Bryant. Now he has an Academy Award. Funny how these things work out. Kobe Bryant is 40 years old today. You have a local celebrity who's celebrating a birthday, go to our Facebook page, NCW Life's Facebook page. Let me know about it. I'll get your local celebrity on the television. Still to come, everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. Lynn Kelly in-house to talk about the Wenatchee the Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival, which I can't seem to say. It's this Saturday at the Town Toyota Center, but before we get to both of those things, it's time for Kennel Cameos on the NCW Life channel.
Hey guys, Megan here with the NCW Life channel. We are here with Renee Parkins, the Development Officer of the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and also with us today is Giddy, the kitty. Can you tell us about Giddy?
Well, we don't know a whole lot about Giddy. He was a stray when he was brought in. He was in terrible condition, though. Poor thing. And one of the things our vet noticed when she was examining him is that he had a lot of scar tissue on his corneas. So he's not exactly blind, but the best way she could liken it was if you were trying to look through glasses with foggy glasses. So he can't see really well, but he can see enough, and it sure doesn't get in the way of him being a sweet guy, because he is friendly and he is happy and healthy now that he's at the shelter, and he's just waiting for his new home. So we don't, again, know a lot about Giddy's history, but because of his eye issues, it's probably best that he is in a one-animal home, definitely an indoor-only home, and I don't know that small children would be the best thing for him, just because he can't see, so it does kind of put him a little bit on the defensive. So I think a nice quiet home with adults only would probably be the best thing for him, but he'll be the best lap cat you've ever had, for sure.
Oh yeah, he's really sweet, super soft. And if someone wants to adopt Giddy, what should they do?
They just need to come down, meet him, let him just love on you a little bit. And if you figure out he's the best match for you, you can fill out your adoption papers and take him home.
All right, Giddy, what do you have to say? The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. This has been Kennel Cameos at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
Thanks to the help I received at Goodwill,
I have a job. I'm working now. Thanks to Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Goodwill's Employment Connection Center is a free walk-in job search assistance program designed to get you back to work. When you donate to or shop at Goodwill, you're really helping people find work.
Thank you. Goodwill, there's more behind the store.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Local Tel. The NCW District Fair takes place this Wednesday the 22nd through Sunday the 26th. It's all happening at the Waterville Fairgrounds. The Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival is this Saturday night at the Town Toyota Center. This wine competition typically draws over 200 entries from North Central Washington wineries. For more information and other community events, visit ncwlife.com.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, many Christians today share the perception that society is deteriorating, and that's evidence that we're in the end times. Well, I don't deny some nasty stuff is going on nowadays, but I do feel a lot of this deterioration is just the natural progression of human nature, which has always been problematic. Now, I contend that in many ways society is improving. Now, not perfect yet by any means, but improving. For example, recognition of our need to acknowledge and stand up against domestic abuse and domestic violence. Our acknowledgement and willing to deal with the abuse of our children. Our increased recognition of and the respect for the rights of the disenfranchised. Also, an improvement is an increased recognition of the respect of women's rights and their role in our society. And like them or not, the fact that this country matured enough to elect a black man for president. Now maybe, just maybe in some ways, we're moving in the right direction. Now, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shanlin here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Let us make your dream of home ownership a reality. We're here to guide you through the loan process every step of the way. Check out our convenient online application. Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, your home for loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
This is State Representative Kerry Condata inviting you to watch our new and improved 12th District 2.0 show. Now featuring more information on federal, state, and local issues in a leaner, faster format. Guest hosts John Wise and Shiloh Shower bring it all home with yours truly, Kerry Condata. Why do we call it 2.0? Because just like me, it's the stronger, faster, and lighter version of today's politics. Also available on demand at ncwlife.com.
Eastern Washington. It's a great place to call home and a great time to own a home. It's the ideal place to lay down roots for your family and your future. Gisa Credit Union thinks Eastern Washington is a great place to own a home too. That's why we offer all kinds of home loans with personal attention every step of the way. We're your home. For home loans, we're Gisa Credit Union.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's back for the 8th big year. That means they've done 7 of them, and they pretty much know what they're doing by now. It is the event of the weekend. It is the 8th annual Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival. I said it correctly. And here to talk about it on Saturday night at the Town Toyota Center is your friend of mine, Lynn Kelly, who's been on this show numerous times to talk about numerous things. The woman who wears many hats.
I do,
Yeah.
these days.
Hi, Lynn.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm so glad to hear it.
Thank you. Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival, Backtown Toyota Center. Best wines, best food.
It's true.
8? They've done 8 of these?
8 of these. This will be the 8th.
When was the first? It was like in your garage or something? I don't
It
remember
was
that.
at St. Joe's,
Okay.
actually, in
Oh,
their
that's right. Yes.
Kuykendall Hall there.
Yes.
Yeah. So now we just use that as kind of our starting point for judging, because this whole affair starts with judging more than 200 wines from North Central Washington.
How do I get that gig?
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet gig, but it's taken. There are professionals, believe it or not, who do that gig.
These folks know what they're doing. You got you got Andy Perdue, you got Christine Bono, you got Dan Carr, you got my good friend Bob Robertson, Rick Stegmeyer, who's been writing about wine forever, Sarah Wilson. How did you get these folks? Well, how'd you get these folks? You want to come drink some wine in June?
We got connections,
Yeah.
and so it really starts with that that whole piece where they taste and taste and taste, and they narrow it down and then rejudge until we get to the best.
Now the wine has actually already been, the judging thing is done, right?
The judging is done. That was done in June, and the results will be announced on Saturday night.
Okay.
So Foothills Magazine is our main presenting body, and we co-sponsor it with the Town Toyota Center.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're our presenting body with us, and then our sponsors, we've got the Port of Chelan, and then Moss Adams help sponsor the event as well. But yeah, the judging is done, and we can't wait to show you the winners. So come on.
For people who've never been to the Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival, why can I not say that?
It's okay.
For people who've never been there, walk them through the program, walk them through what to expect.
Sure. So we had 250 VIP tickets available this year, and they're all sold out. So they're done, and those people get to join us starting at 5 o'clock, so they have a special experience just for the first hour. And then general admission starts at 6 o'clock, and you'll come in the front door, you'll get your glass, you'll get your plate, and then you can go on in, and we've got some people out in the concourse, and then most of our people are in on the main floor at the Town Toyota Center. So it's food, wine, we've got a couple of breweries, distilleries, and also cider. So something
cool.
for everybody, really.
I went 2 years ago. Well, this is a perfect shot of it.
Oh, yeah.
I went 2 years ago, and out on the deck or someplace, I can't remember where it was, they actually had a cigar bar, and you could sit there and smoke a big old stogie while you drank your wine.
Yes, the River House Cigar Bar will be back again this year, and we'll have Lance Tigner will be out there providing music, and then we've got the Confluence Trio in the main hall. So yeah, there's a little bit of everything for it.
How many different types of wine and how many different wineries are participating?
We have 31 wineries participating, and everything from fruit wine to more traditional wines.
Ciders?
Pretty much ciders. We've got 6 different cider places. Steelhead, Pair Up, Archibald cider, a new cider out of Chelan. So there's a little bit of everything.
And the food?
And the food. The food. Well, our co-host is the Town Toyota Center, so Beyond Creations is one of our food vendors, and they do a fantastic job. Jody is great. They do a great job for us. New this year, we have the Wenatchee Convention Center. We'll be there and talking about what they can do for you for holiday parties. Then we have Ina's Cuisine. We've got the Cafe Columbia. Visconti's is our glass sponsor, so they'll be there with Cured and Visconti's. India House will be there. The Lavender Boutique. We have lavender ice cream and lavender lemonade. The fudge people from Leavenworth will be there from Flavor Creation. So we just have a little bit of everything.
What like I said, I've been there before, and it is a lot of fun. Can you just walk in and buy a ticket, or do you have to?
You can, and in fact.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Don't let me forget.
Here's Lynn Kelly with an exciting announcement.
Yes, exciting news. We do have a discount code for viewers today.
Ooh,
NCW Life 10.
NCW Life 10.
Correct.
So
That'll get you $10 off.
And I'm online right now. It's WenatcheeWineandFood.com is the website. And it's right here. You can go buy tickets, and I'm clicking on that. You got your credit card ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead. We'll start with your number.
Yep. So it's capital N, capital C, capital W, capital Life. NCW Life 10. We'll get you $10 off the $45 ticket price.
You mentioned the VIP tickets, which is what I did 2 years ago.
So really, yeah.
$75 sold out. Was there any thought about maybe expanding that, or?
No, we really want to keep that to an exciting experience and an exclusive experience for people who are willing to spend the $75. They get an extra hour early admission. And it's just those 250 people. They get a bottle of wine. They get their own little insulated tote bag. This year, it's got a bottle of wine opener in it, some snacks, and then they actually have their own VIP lounge too. So during the course of the evening, all the golds and double golds will be served directly right in there.
So who knows right now what wines have won the big awards, the gold medals and the super duper?
The winners know.
They know.
The winners know, yes.
Okay.
And because they've been interviewed. So, and then of course the staff at the Wenatchee World and Foothills Magazine all know. So
the judging was done in June. Walk me through that. Was it just all of these super duper wine experts, these audiophiles sitting around and taking and comparing notes? Was it like an all-day thing?
It is an all-day thing, and they have, I think, 4 different panels, and every panel has kind of a head judge that walks them through the process. All the wines are, it's a blind taste test, so every wine bottle gets its own label, and then every glass gets its own label that corresponds. So it's a blind taste test, and they really don't know what they're tasting. So.
But if they're really good, and these people are really good, they're going to say, well,
really
that's a Jones, and that's I
don't know that happens.
You don't think so?
I don't know that happens. It's really interesting. So they do all the tasting on the first round and give the first round judging, then they take a break and have lunch, and then they rejudge the top awards, and everybody rejudges the top.
And then they take a cab home.
We take good care. I will say, if you're coming on Saturday night, have a designated driver or take a cab, or Uber and Lyft both operate in Wenatchee now. So.
Are these people experts in the individual kinds of wines? Say, I'm Bob Smith and I know a good cab when I taste one, or I know Merlot, or I know that kind of deal?
I think they span, they have a pretty good wide palette and span the globe of wine.
I'm a cab guy. Cab goes good with almost anything.
It really does.
It really does.
It really does. But you know, the truth is, good wine goes with lots of things.
That's true. That's true. So can people, like, if they're there and they're tasting this particular vintage from this particular winery, and they go, "Wow, that's good. Can I buy a bottle? Can you do that?"
You can buy a bottle, and in fact, the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center is the not-for-profit organization that's the beneficiary of those bottle sales. So not all the wineries participate in that, but most of them do, and we have about a case of each wine to 2 cases of each wine, depending on the winery, available for purchase. It is considered by the state as a not-for-profit event, and so there is no tax, no sales tax, no liquor tax. So if you're buying spirits, there's no tax on that, so a good opportunity to make a purchase if you find something you really like.
You mentioned, we'll go off topic just a little bit, you mentioned the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center, one of my favorite places to be. Big night tonight. You're the committee has whittled it down to 2 finalists to take over the day-to-day operations. You want to walk me through that a little bit while you're here?
Sure. So we have been looking for a new director, and we're excited to announce that we do have 2 candidates, and they'll be at the museum all day today. Kenny is from the Pacific Science Center, and she's the outreach director there right now, so local-ish, but brings a big city perspective to things and a lot of great museum experience. And then Matt Cadman, well-known here in the Wenatchee Valley, very local, excellent director of the Performing Arts Center here in town. So we're excited. We have 2 very good candidates to look at, and they'll be at the museum all day long and available this evening at 5:30 if the public wants to come out and meet them Thursday night. We'd be happy to have you come down and meet them and talk to them and listen to them about their vision for the museum.
And then there's the formal process where, is that like when they sit down and they pitch themselves to a committee? Is that a...
That happens today during the day.
Okay.
So that's during the day. So this evening is just public tonight is really a chance for them to talk to the public and for us to see how they interact with the public here and listen to their vision of things. You know, the museum runs so much on volunteers. We really try to give our volunteers the opportunity to meet somebody who's going to be so important to the future of the museum.
I'm glad I'm not on the committee that has to make the final decision, because I would just be awful at that.
Me
I
too.
would just stink at that. What's the timetable on making the decision and tendering the offer and that kind of stuff?
That is beyond my pay grade, Dan.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be done in relatively short order.
Yeah, well, they don't really have one, so you know,
Yeah,
so they got to get going and hit the ground running.
You know, Daryl Dickinson has been our interim director, and he's done a lovely job. He really has, yeah.
Yeah, Daryl's a great guy. He really is. He's
And
been on this show, and he's even come back twice. Doesn't happen too often. You've been here for like 3 or 4 times. So the Wenatchee you say it.
The Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival is this Saturday.
August 25th at the
Town Toyota Center. You can join us at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, and I still need your card number. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick commercial break, Kat, and when we're doing that, I'll go ahead and get all that pertinent information from Lynn. I'm going to pick. When I go at number of tickets, I'm going to do 25. And what's the code on that again?
Sure. NCW Life 10.
More with Lynn Kelly when we come back. You're watching one of the most interesting editions of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.
Do you have a fun or interesting video you'd like to see featured here on the NCW Life channel? It's easy. All you have to do is send us an email at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
The NCW Life Channel is your home for local news, local weather, and events including live local high school sports. Watch inspiring local shows featuring local people. Don't miss Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's Learn, Guada TV, Street Talk and Other Stuff, the 12th District, Life with Lisa, and the Arbiter of Stoke. NCW Life Channel is your local TV station.
And we are back, Dan Kuntz alongside Lynn Kelly, talking about the Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival. He enunciated correctly this Saturday at the Town Toyota Center. This is top flight wine. This is if you're a wine snob, oniophile, what are they called?
Enophile.
Enophile, thank you. If you're a wine person, this is it, because all of these, this is not wine in a box. Nothing against wine in a box. And this isn't one of those big old jugs, and this isn't stuff that they, made yesterday. This is award-winning. All of these wines are top flight.
All of these wines are top flight. We've got, I'm going to look at my list because I forget, Chateau Frère-le-Pont, Milbrand, Martin Scott, Crayel, Severa, Cave Bee, Stamilt, Brian Patrick, Baroness, Icicle Ridge, Ventio, Eagle Creek. Eagle Creek is our vintner this year for our VIP bags. So every VIP bag comes with its own bottle of specially labeled Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival wine from Eagle
A couple
Creek.
of things. I'm on the again. If you're just joining us, I've been on the website trying to get Lynn's credit card information to no avail. You got a problem here. It says it's absolutely all inclusive, and it's $45. That's obviously a mistake.
No, that is it. That
45
is it.
bucks.
Yep, $45, and for your viewers, 35.
Please, yeah, do one more time, please.
35. NCW Life 10.
NCW Life 10. If you go online and use that code, and you'll save $10 on your ticket.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
It's a great evening, and that includes the entertainment. We've got the cigar bar outside, and the trio inside. It'll be a lovely evening.
Is that from last year?
That can't be ours. That just can't, because we don't have lighting like that. We're better. It's more ambient than that. That's got to be in the setup phase or the tear down phase.
I'm sure it is.
Because it looks nicer than that when we get all set up.
Because people like they like.
Yeah, exactly. We turn down the lights, and it's a fun time. There's about 800 people.
Okay.
So it's pretty full. It's got a great atmosphere. And by the time you get the wine and the food and the spirits and the cider and the music, it's a lovely evening.
At 9 o'clock, when this event is supposed to end, is that it? It's over? They escort you the heck out of there? And
it is. They stop serving. So most people leave shortly thereafter.
There you go.
They stop serving. We sell bottles,
right.
Till we're finished selling bottles. But because this is the museum's second largest fundraiser of the year.
It's going to be a great way to get out of the smoke.
Really
and the haze, because as we mentioned at the top of the show, the Department of Ecology is thinking that our air quality is going to go right back down into the toilet again after we were hoping for a little bit of a respite with some strong winds. But they say that basically the fires that we're dealing with, specifically the Cougar Creek fire, is so close to the Wenatchee Valley that even if we get the winds to scour out, it's not going to be enough to really clean the air out. So you can go inside. You'll be happy to know that the Town Toyota Center has a very good HVAC system. It works extraordinarily well. Great time to pick up some wine. Great food. Kudos to all of these great restaurants who are pitching in and doing this. And this is great for like a bunch of couples. Get together with all your friends and $45.
Exactly. It's
Are
a
you
great
guys
night
nuts?
Out. What else can you do on Saturday night?
Really?
This is perfect.
Of course, I have to check in with the Chelan County Jail. It's a long story. We didn't do this yet. Wenatchee Wine and just Google Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival and you'll find it. It's pretty simple. And then you can buy your ticket. If you buy your tickets online and use the code, are they just like a will call?
No, it'll go ahead and print out. You print out a little.
Oh, okay, cool. Yep. All right. Well, everybody, you have yourself a great Thursday. Kelley. Okay, I need that card again. You got the card? You got the card?
No.
Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.